Hey guys, so anime tourists have been a hot button issue right now, and they've been discussed because of a certain YouTube channel. I'm not gonna say which one, you probably already know which one, which has been like, I don't know, revealed or like they've been outed as a bunch of tourists, and so it's gotten, the term and discussions about the term within the different communities. Uh, it's gotten it back into the forefront. Now, this isn't a new thing, the idea of there being a tourist in the anime community. And it's just that it's particularly relevant now, so I just wanted to give my 2 cents on it. You know, really only doing it because it's popular right now. But basically, if you guys don't know, an anime tourist, in quotes, that term is used specifically for people who make content or, say that, oh, I'm an anime fan, and they only like surface level, they only watch the most popular shows, and they don't really understand them, or they spread misinformation unknowingly, or they don't appreciate the medium, as an art form. They just kind of see it as, well, this is a thing that's popular, so I'm going to make content about it. Maybe that wasn't the best explanation for it. Really, what it's about is that it's people that make content about anime who do it because it's popular, not necessarily because they have to like it. Maybe they've seen some shows or whatever, but a lot of times they don't particularly understand a lot of it in depth. So that can have some negative effects, but it's not quite as a big a deal as I personally think it is. Now, you may think that this is a harmless thing just because something's surface level doesn't mean you can't make content on it. No, that's not what it means. But it's pretending, like giving off the impression that, oh, I'm a real fan, I know about all this stuff, when in actuality you don't. It's like, take music, for example. I like to listen to music, right? But I have a surface level understanding and appreciation for it. I wouldn't make content pretending to know all this stuff that, I would look up on Wikipedia before I make the actual video and pretend to know about it, because that would be disingenuous and I wouldn't actually know what I was talking about. And I'd have an opinion that I was told or that I was fed, which, may or may not be factually correct in some cases. So I wouldn't make content about that. I could state my opinion on it. I like this song, I like this. But since I don't really understand it on a deep enough level, I couldn't really go into it in like a video form, right? Or I wouldn't feel comfortable making content about it. That'd be disingenuous. So it's the same kind of thing, doing something because it's popular. And yes, this is an effect of anime becoming way more popular as a medium. It just, becoming more popular on the internet, more popular in popular culture. Demon Slayer movie made like over $100 million or something. And I think overall it's a good thing that anime has become more mainstream, but this is just, an unintended yet inevitable effect of it. The other problem is that when you only look at and read stuff about a particular anime online, then you might have a distorted view of it. I'll use two examples, one that I'm sort of familiar with and one that I'm very familiar with. Right, like let's take K-On! For example, right? If you were to only like look at stuff on the internet about it and what people have said about it, you would think they would have like horrible, radical political stuff in it, when in actuality it's just cute girls doing cute things who are all stupid, doing nothing, made by a mangaka who has a weirdly specific relationship with eating oysters, and that may ruin, a newer fan's view of it too, and they might not pick up the series because they think it's weird or whatever. Another example that I'm very familiar with is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So take JoJo, right? If you only learn about JoJo and know about it from reading the memes online and seeing what people have had to say about it, and you haven't actually sat down and watched the show, or like, you've seen content about it on TikTok, then you would have a completely distorted view of what the series is like, right? It's like the whole fanon versus canon thing, but like biomagnification, it's like it taints the whole thing, right? Like, you would think that the meme version of things are the real things. That's one of the reasons why JoJolion isn't that popular, because the internet opinion on it is that it's long, it's weird, it's boring, and the only interesting thing about it is that the main character has 4 balls. Right? That's not JoJolian. That's not what it's about. That doesn't have anything to do with its themes. You know, if you dislike JoJolian because, oh, I didn't really particularly gel with the characters well, or I thought that this particular theme, wasn't done well, or I didn't like this particular arc for this functional reason, that's fine. You can have your own opinion on it, but it has to be an informed opinion. Like, it has to actually have some weight to it. One of the reasons why JoJo is the main thing I talk about on here, I'd like to branch out into other shows, and I'll get to that eventually, but one of the reasons why JoJo is the main thing I talk about is because I know a lot about it. I don't know as much about it as, say, like, creators like Hum on Beat, or, like, Metas or something. Like, there's a bunch of great JoJo YouTubers that go really in-depth into things. Can, pull from JoJonium and all this stuff. I don't know as much as they do, but I know way more than I'd say the average fan does. And that's because I've sat down, I've read through the entire manga. I've watched the series multiple times, and, I know as much as I can know right now. I'd like to, increase my knowledge, but the reason why I'm comfortable making content is about it is because I feel like I'm informed enough to do so. Another thing with tourists is that if you don't really watch anime, you don't really understand it. You don't really understand the culture behind it. You don't really understand more, everything's based off of everything else, right? This thing was clearly inspired by this thing. This thing was clearly inspired by that thing. And the reason why, there are tropes, there's the Dere types and, how everything's a ripoff of Evangelion. Like, all that stuff, because there's this huge myriad, like, there's this big web of interconnected culture within the medium that you have to at least appreciate and put value in a little bit if you want to, truly understand the medium. And all they really know about it is that Dragon Ball has Goku in it, and that he's a bad father, I guess. Takes another one of my favorite series of all time is, like, the Monogatari series, for example. Like, if you were to only learn about it based on what you watched, videos on YouTube about it, or people talking about it on TikTok or whatever, then you would think it's some weird, like, fetishy, I don't even know what you would think about it. You just think it's some weird show that, I don't want to look at that. When really it's super well written. It's very intricate. It has a lot of great foreshadowing. In the anime-wise, the animation style is great. The music is wonderful, and all the voice acting is on point. It's just great across the board, and you would never be able to experience that or appreciate it if you never picked it up, because some guy who's also never read it says that he thinks it's a weird Gooner show. Another problem with not understanding the medium is disrespecting things that came before. One thing that Joey, the anime man, mentioned in his recent video about tourists that I really agree with, and maybe I could expand on, is that it's a good video. You should go watch that. Like, something that I've seen often, especially with that, that one channel, especially the video in question that kicked off this whole thing, is that they don't appreciate older animes because the animation is bad, I guess. I don't really understand the reasoning behind it. They just think it's lame and weird, Obviously, the original Astro Boy show or whatever isn't going to have the animation of JJK Season 2. That doesn't mean it's lesser than that, right? But you can't use that to base your opinion off of for any kind of media. That's just not applicable. That's just not... Your opinion should be taken seriously if that's your genuine reason for thinking that something is bad, is because it's old. That's a misunderstanding of criticism. Like, you just don't get it. Now, I'm not completely free of guilt from either side of this, I'm not trying to be an elitist and saying, oh, just because you don't know the Haruhi dance doesn't mean you're a true otaku or something like that. But I only feel like that this particular phenomenon, there being tourists, is damaging to newer fans. I don't dislike the idea of tourists, making content, because I think that anime shouldn't be mainstream. It's actually the opposite. I think that it should have a bigger audience and it should appeal to as many people as possible. But that's kind of damaged by if they view it in the wrong way, or they think that, they form incorrect opinions, or, are apprehensive to things because somebody else who also didn't really understand it gave their opinion on it just to get likes on YouTube or something. And, it's fine to make surface level content about stuff, A lot of my JoJo videos, for example, aren't that deep. They're not that philosophically complex. It's just like a funny thing about the series or whatever. But the thing is, I can back up my knowledge on it. And it's totally fine to just make, a little funny thing or whatever. But if you want to, genuinely put out your opinion, oh, this is my ranking of my favorite romance anime, and you only rank them off of, this girl was annoying, C tier. If you're in a scenario where you are going to give a constructive opinion, then you have to back it up with logic based on what you're ranking from, It's like, a lot of people's favorite romance anime is Horimiya. And I've read a lot of breakdowns and I've watched a lot of videos of people talking about how much they like it and appreciate it. And I value their opinion because they have good things to say about it and they have good reasons to back it up. Me personally, it's not my favorite thing in the world. I think it's fine. I don't dislike it or anything, but I can understand their opinion because they have an actual opinion on it. So what did you take away from this? Basically, it's just, once again, your 10 billionth reminder that whenever you post something on the internet, that it's open to criticism from everybody. And if you say something stupid, then people have the right to say that it's dumb, And like what you like, and you can make whatever content you want. But it's very easy to tell if you don't actually like something and you're making content on it because it's popular.